Hey, once so today it's about the limit range. Okay, so we'll just understand with some of the example how we can do it, and also we are going to do a demo for this. That is the practical. Okay, so this will be the totally hands-on. So let's start with the basic introduction of this limit range. So with our previous class, we already know about the request and limit, right? But what happens sometimes in a cluster, so whenever you create a pod, okay, so there you don't define the request and the limit. So if you don't define the request and limit, in that case that pod, there is a no like rule how much memory or CPU that pod will be using. So it can use any max CPU or the max memory, okay, that pod can use. But to control this particular thing, you can use this limit range as well. You are controlling with the request and limit, that is fine, but sometimes what happens, you don't write the request and limit in your particular YAML file, you don't write it. So in that case, what will happen? In that case, there should be something which should protect your node, right? So that is basically your limit range. So limit range is basically used for controlling, or you can say not controlling, it is used to basically constrain the resources of your nodes. Okay, so how it works basically, I will tell you. So if you're having suppose a node like 8 GB, you can just consider of memory, and we are having some namespace like dev namespace. And there what we are going to do is that we create multiple pods. So if you have not assigned a request and limit, so any pod, if it consumes more memory, it can consume the whole 8 GB of RAM, right? So with limit range, what you can do, you can just define in this namespace, you will be defining a limit range where you can just define the max and the min. You can define max memory. Any pod in this particular namespace can use the max memory up to 1 GB, and min memory you can just make it as a 500 MB. So now even if you don't assign the request and limit in these particular pods, so by default what will happen, it will be having the request and limit of the like 1 GB. Okay, request also it can do the max, and the limit also it will be around 1. Okay, so by default this happens, so you need to define this max and the min. Okay, so we'll see how it happens. So if I just come up on in the official documentation of Kubernetes, so already they have created one lab for this. You can see here configure minimum and maximum memory constant for a namespace. Okay, so what we are going to do is that I'll be just creating this particular namespace. So let me just open up my terminal. Okay, so let's create this namespace. Am I not able to paste? Wait. Yeah, namespace is done. Then what we'll be doing is that you can see here we are creating a limit range and a pod. Okay, so for the limit range, this is basically YAML API version v1, and kind you can see the limit range, then metadata spec, you can see limit, we're defining the max memory and the min memory, and the type is basically we're defining here the container, but type could be anything. It could be container, it could be pod, or even it could be this persistent volume. So let me just create a directory over here, limit range. Okay, so here I will just create that YAML limit range dot YAML. So I can just paste this, and let's just apply this. Okay, limit range is created. Now if you have to see, you can just do this one, get limit range. So min max demo error not found. Why? Namespace is the same only, right? Create namespace constants mem example. Let me just check here. Do we have here any namespace defined? Okay, namespace is not defined in the YAML. Okay, they have already done one mistake, I feel. Okay, that's fine. Okay, we'll just add a namespace over here. Namespace, and the namespace was, what was the namespace? this one. Okay, cool. Just save it, and again we'll just apply this one and get. So yeah, here you can see after checking this particular limit range main memory min max demo, you can see it has added the default request and the default limit as well. So this default is basically your limit and this one is your request. Okay, so whenever you create a pod without the request and limit, so it will be having that particular specification. So now if I just show you over here to create a pod, so if you will create a pod with the limit we have given 800 memory and request we are doing 600, right? So in this case what will happen, that pod will get created. So let's just create this one, vi pod.yaml, and also we need to copy the namespace. So we are having this particular namespace. So if I just do here kubectl apply hyphen f pod.yaml, and if I just do kubectl get pods hyphen n this particular namespace, so you can see this is over here, and let's do the describe for this. Describe pod this one, and we will just add over here hyphen n. uh, okay, wait, describe pod and the pod name will be here. What is the example? Okay, it's demo. Hmm. So now here you can see the request and limit. uh, Here you can see. So limit you, yeah, you are able to see 800 MB and the request is 600 MB. So it's not breaching it, right? So that's why it created that particular pod. Okay, so even you will see over here this particular command, if you write get constant, so you can see the same thing, request and limit, you can see 800 MB and the request also. Okay, now we'll try to create a pod that exceeds the maximum memory limit. So if we add this particular 1.5 GB, then what will happen? Then it will not create. So if we paste this over here and the namespace also, okay, I need to create a namespace. Not great, right over there. Okay, they should have added here. I don't know why they might have missed. Okay, you just copy this namespace and I will apply kubectl apply hyphen f pod2.yaml, and you can see now we got a error. Constraint this is forbidden, max memory uses per container is 1 GB but limit is this much, so it's breaching it, and that's why we are not able to create the pod. Okay, now what we will do is that now our next thing is that next thing we will be doing is that time to create a pod that does not meet the memory minimum request. Even if you request less, then also what will happen, you will not able to create that particular pod. So if I do this over here pod 3 yaml and namespace, if we will add okay, so let's just save it. Kubectl apply hyphen f pod 3. So this also it will fail as minimum memory usage is 500 but request we have given is 100. So that's also correct. Now what we will do, we will be creating a pod which will not have any particular request or limit assigned. So in that case, what we'll be doing, if I just do the namespace, so you will see there is nothing. So okay, namespace is done. So kubectl apply hyphen f pod4.yaml, and if I just do the over here get pods hyphen n, you can see this demo 4 pod is there. And if we just describe this, describe pod name hyphen n, this one, so you will see automatically there will be the request and the limit they have, it has added. Okay, limit is 1 GB, request is 1 GB. So yeah, in this way you can just play around with the limit range, and it's a very important thing as we discussed. So in a particular that namespace, no any pod should be able to use this one, like full request, full CPU and the memory. Okay, so yeah, this is about your limit range. You can just clean up by deleting this particular namespace. And also the other thing we have is the resource quota, which basically works for the whole namespace. Like it will like check the memory and the CPU limit based on the whole namespace. Like if you have in a, let's say this is a namespace, and if you are running the three pods, okay, and you have this 8 GB of RAM in a particular what you can say, on a particular node, so resource quota will basically change these all. If we just add up the request limit of these particular pods, so it should not breach this 8 GB. Okay, so we'll see this resource quota as well in the next video. So I hope this one you might have liked it, about the limit range. So yeah, that's it for this video, and if you have any question you can just ask me in the comment section. And thank you so much for watching, guys.